Hello, everybody. Welcome back to King Dummies by the Mangaki no Tsukai boys. My name's Evan. I'm here with, as always, with Jesse and Adam.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
So, before we get off to everything, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that's been watching, and everybody that's been commenting. It means a lot to us, and we appreciate reaching out. Um, and like there are actually a good amount of people that are like sitting down and watching and like listening to what we have to say for some reason. So yeah, just thanks to everybody. Um, yeah, today we're going to be continuing on where we left off with starting off the Bayou invasion arc. And I personally think this is where Kingdom starts to get like really, really good. Adam, do you agree with me?
Yeah, I think we had our first campaign arc, which I think was more of just an introductory into what we would be seeing more of, and I think we get a lot more politics side with this arc that mixes in with the cool warring aspect of what the manga is all about. So this is where I think it really steps up in quality as far as story and everything else goes.
Jesse, what do you think about? Because I know that you really enjoyed the assassination arc, which was kind of, I mean, honestly, like its own kind of thing within Kingdom in general. I mean, most of the arcs are about campaigns. So, are you digging this as much as you were, or are you looking like more for like arcs that were like the assassination arc?
I think that this arc, as far as like versus the first campaign, I think that this arc has a lot more story and moving parts going
For
on
sure.
to it. So no, this arc was really sweet, and I think the chapters after what we're going to be discussing as well, I've read kind of further, and it's getting really good. Yeah. So no, this campaign has been really kick ass so far.
Cool, man. And yeah, they're definitely expanding a lot on like Chin itself, but also obviously the other states, especially Zhao. And this like what you're talking about there, like kind of really picks up even in the first chapter where they introduce Mogo, who Adam you know is a great character.
Oh yeah.
Mogo's a pretty the entire family is honestly amazing.
Yeah, the cool thing with Mogo is not Mogo himself, but the people that he keeps uh, as his like vice generals. Because
Hmm.
Mogo himself is a cool character, and we get a really later in this story get some like I feel like Mogo is a very like a very like neutral character where like he's not anything crazy, but he's not super bland, but
Yeah.
there's one part in particular that happens which really makes you go, "Damn, Mogo is cool as hell." But
Yeah.
his vice generals are, oof, so cool.
Oof. I
Probably,
say you.
probably two of the my favorite characters in the whole manga.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Two of the most impactful, at least, for
Yeah,
like some of the later arcs for sure.
absolutely, absolutely.
Um, yeah, because Mogo is, I mean, even in chapter 108, where we're starting off and everything, like in this read through, they actually talk about Mogo being an exceedingly mediocre general. But the thing about him is that he knows when to not take the chances that are gonna, be detrimental to his cause because he has so much experience.
Right.
Um, his moniker is Hakuro, which is basically means like an old white like hair. And
Yeah.
he's obviously not an old white man.
Nah, he's old. He's got white hair, but I think it means more so
Yeah,
that he's seasoned.
yeah,
He's been around as long as the six great generals. So
and he's made it this far.
right, and he's a general himself. He was not a
He's
part of
still
the
alive.
six, right? But he good enough that they say at some point in this chapter, won't lose to anybody that's weaker than him because he just does everything by the book. You know?
Hmm. And it also, we only get a little bit of Mogo in this chapter. But even though this is like the weaker state of Han that he's invading, what is it? He takes 11 days within a month, or sorry, 11 cities within a month.
Right.
And on page 16 of this chapter 108, it has one of these. I love it when the author has these like little diagrams of the cities and the movements of the armies and stuff.
Yes,
Uh,
absolutely.
that gets my goose. That's one of my favorite things about Kingdom. It's such a small thing, but I really enjoy like just seeing this and just picturing like the movements and stuff.
Yeah, it certainly when they're, especially during like campaigning, when like they just do a quick overview, like they give you like a full panel of this, of these
Yeah.
X's and O's and where the chin are and what general is where, what commander is where. It helps you visualize everything so much easier.
And we got a little bit of that. I mean, like we were saying before, the first campaign was really just like it set the stage kind of for what like the rest of it is going to be like. So we saw a little bit of that in the first campaign, but this one actually even starts off when the two armies face off against each other. It starts off with that, and it's one of the cooler like big scenes that we've seen so far. But that's a little bit ahead of where we're at right now. In this chapter, we get to see Taku again, which is great. The original 5-man commander in Shin's first squad. We get a little bit of back and forth with Ryofui and Shobun-kun at the court. Mr. Shi makes an appearance. And Karyoten, obviously, looking over the strategic map of everything and getting better and understanding like what a war is like. This is her first war, you know. They talk about how the other states aren't going to do anything because Dukyo's going against Wei, like looking for some bullshit to the south. They already have a bunch of defenses, but they also got this guy Choto. And they say in Zhao, yeah, they can't really do anything. The three great heavens, their three major generals, is doing a transition, and they're really not able to do anything. Like they're recruiting new generals, but none of them seem to be working out. At the end of this chapter, we get to see the back on page 21 of the Hoken for the first time. Hoken is one of our main characters moving forward, and we also see the Zhao King at the end there.
Yeah, I think it's also important to point out that this is the second time that I don't think this is the second time we've heard the name the Three Great Heavens. I think it's the first time we've been introduced, or maybe no, I don't remember. Maybe we have been. I don't know. But this is.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think this is the first time they mention the Three Great Heavens, and they just say like they were on par with the Chin's 6. But this is the second time they have mentioned Renpa, who was a Three Great Heaven, and he is going to be an important character going forward.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to say anything too much about him, but
Right.
he kind of reminds me of Dukyo a little bit.
Yes, for sure.
Mostly in just his design, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure.
The sharp teeth.
Yeah,
I want to talk about sharp teeth. You gotta look at Mangoku's fucking chompers.
yeah, it's
They almost look like they're fucking like he could be like
it's
a
dark.
right. He could be like a Batman villain who's got like metal fucking teeth. You know?
Yeah, I could see that.
Looks like razor blades.
Right.
I could see that being a Batman villain. But they're also like dirty, which is weird because like they'll draw it. Like his teeth are just kind of like, it almost looks like he has braces. They're so gross. I'll point it out when we get to it.
Yeah, they're like black, which is why it reminds me of like they're like literally made of steel, or as Jesse said, like razors or something. Like Mangoku is an odd character, even the way he talks.
Yeah, with the stutter.
The stutter, and even like the way that they draw his lettering, like I feel like he talks. I have a certain way that he talks in my head. I will definitely not try to make whatever that sounds like out loud, but in my head,
you should at least once.
Maybe
I want to hear it.
Maybe it's gonna sound so bad. Yeah, it's gonna sound
We'll find
so bad.
We'll find a we'll find a particularly gross face of his and make you do it. We're gonna force you to
See,
do
I
it.
feel like I'm just gonna sound like Batman, and that's not what I'm going for. You
Maybe
know?
we can take turns.
Yeah, maybe we could do that.
Yeah,
That
I
way I'm
mean,
not
you're
in.
not.
That way I'm
Don't
not the
forget,
only
you're not.
one.
Yeah, you're not in this alone, buddy. We're here with you 100% of the
Thank
way.
God. Thank God someone's holding my hand while I'm trying to do Mangoku impersonations.
Oh Jesus! So that was a really good chapter, I thought.
Yeah.
This manga is so hype. I some of the best parts of this series is like just the in between arcs, where it really focuses on like the royal court and like other things that are going on. So in this next chapter, um, the city Bao, right? Bao.
Bow. I
Yeah,
would guess bow.
I'm guessing it's Bao.
That's
It's just it starts off with a bunch of people outside the city gates. Hey, we're ha ha ha. We're farmers. Oh, did you hear? They took another city. Our Chin army is great. And then all of a sudden, the next page, there's just like thousands and thousands of people, of men, an enemy army. Like they didn't somehow catch that. But anyway, on page 4, it has this picture of them just sitting out in the fields, and this cavalry just coming out at them.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you got people on the walls watching this. Like, the panel before this, we see that there's people on the walls watching. How did they not see them until they were like 15, 20 feet away from the wall?
Seriously,
Is it because
This is almost like a sketch out of Monty Python's Holy Grail or something like that.
it's like Sir Lancelot times 100,000.
do you think it's because all these farmers aren't good enough assassins that they didn't fucking hear them coming up behind them?
Oh, that makes sense why the city falls so easily then. It's because they're all just a bunch of half-bit assassins. These are the worst assassins. Look at these assassins farming and shit.
Yeah, what assassin is actually out there farming? That's pretty embarrassing.
The not good ones apparently, because they all get fucking wrecked.
Can
They
you
get wrecked so bad we don't even see it.
can you imagine having to draw every single one of these fucking guys? Like, look how many fucking. I mean, I know they're not like super detailed, but like every single one of these guys, you got to draw,
Mm.
and and the flags.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, especially on this page, on pages like page 4 of this chapter,
Right.
where you can get away with some of the people in the background just being like a little dot or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
But especially these two top panels where it shows the two sides, like the infantry and the cavalry.
Right. I mean,
Like
those
you can
guys
even
are.
see like they'll throw in like on the left on the infantry, like this guy's got a weird looking face, like he's got a scar or something they put some modicum of detail in it.
For sure. I mean, the top left panel, I would say the first four guys are
Yeah.
clearly distinct in what they look like. They all have
Hmm.
different faces.
So they can't just totally cut and paste.
Right.
One really shitty assassin is on this bottom panel, the big one. There's just some guy laying out there. Like, oh, is he just chilling, or did he fall in fear or something?
I would
Or
assume
he's just laying down.
I would assume he's the lazy one. You know, doesn't really want to actually farm. Wants
He's
to actually practice being an assassin, but these guys want to fucking farm instead.
he's like, these fucking assholes don't let me be an assassin. I'm gonna watch these motherfuckers just roll up on us and not say a goddamn word.
I'd rather watch us die than be a farmer.
Oh, finally, kill us, please. We're the worst assassins ever. I'd rather die than have a dishonorable name. But and on the next page, actually, it shows like a little bit of a different type of that. Like, obviously, they're much farther away. There's this guy standing on the city wall, so like they can get away with drawing a flag here, a bunch of black dots here.
Right.
Um,
But even the guys
and
on the wall in the bottom panel, I mean, that's a lot of different characters to have to draw, and a lot of them are not just dots anymore.
That is true. Yeah, all the archers and stuff, and like the people behind Denshi-sama.
Right. Denshi-sama.
Denshi-sama. And then we get next shot is of Kosan Ryu, who's got some pretty dope character design in my opinion.
I agree.
Those scars are dope.
He's the sexy-eyed dragon of the Zhao.
Yeah, that's his moniker.
Yeah. Yeah, he's cool. He's got awesome armor as well. His headpiece is really cool.
Yeah, and his units look dope.
Mm-hmm.
Dope. I keep saying dope. What the hell is wrong with me?
I don't know. You're on dope.
Yeah, I was actually transported back to 1995. So,
Jeez.
I'm recording in 1995 right now.
Actually, speaking of his boys, I don't know if they're his boys. It might be Fuki's boys later, but there's one really cool, like, heavy Lancer unit that I actually wrote down in my notes, and I just thought, like, for just being a random fucking literally it's just one person standing in the panel. For being like a random no-name soldier, they put a lot of detail on him, and I thought his armor and his, like, he was really fucking cool. I'll point it out later when we get to it, but
Okay.
really cool.
Dope.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, a lot of the Zhao, like, because Zhao is such I feel like because Zhao is such an important nation,
Mm-hmm.
they really focus a lot on, like, some of the design. Like, some of the people, like, in Chu, for instance, like, there's some really cool-looking people in Chu as well, but
Mm-hmm.
there's some people that are, like, pretty important that I think have, like, just stupid designs straight up.
From the
But Zhao,
Chu?
yeah,
Oh,
from the
okay.
Chu. Yeah, so also in this chapter, as we move forward, we get a little bit of we get a shot of Sei, everybody, including Ryufui, which is kind of weird. That shows him being surprised. They don't really do that very often. They get the word that the Zhao invaded. They already needed reinforcements and stuff like immediately. But this isn't like this is Zhao we're talking about, you know. We went through a little bit of their backstory when we talked about, say, who lived in Zhao for the beginning of his life, how they hate Qin because they basically murdered 400,000 people, buried them alive. So instead of being a war of conquest, this is just a war of extermination. And we get to see Mangoku for the first time. He's a pretty important character. He's sitting naked for some reason on top of a pile of bodies. I don't. I feel like they portray this character as a weirdo, but I never got like sexual deviancy. You know,
I want to
besides
say
this.
right. I want to say this is he definitely raped these bodies or raped these women before killing them.
Right. That's what I was also picking that up too, but it's weird because I don't think they show anything like this with him again. And they really don't show stuff like this at all in Kingdom.
They talk about it, you know.
Yeah, but they don't like show like naked bodies
No.
and stuff.
Yeah, sometimes they feel like they do. They're not. I don't feel like there's a lot of like sexually explicit things in this manga, but like it's definitely implied that a lot of armies that roll through various cities and villages are definitely pillaging and raping the fucking people.
Oh, yeah, of course. Um, it's just weird to see it like so explicitly stated in this series.
But I don't think it's far off for his character because Mangoku is, as you said, portrayed a certain way. He is like, I feel like he is literally the spirit of uh, Chuhei. Is that the name of the city that was?
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like he's literally
I think
like the spirit of those people taking revenge on the Chin.
so.
Which we'll
Show.
find out more about him. Shohei. Yeah, we'll get more of his backstory later. I don't even know if it's a part of this arc.
I'm not sure. I don't think so. I think it's. Oh, I don't. Yeah. Okay.
I don't actually remember, but we get his backstory and some of the other characters' backstory, some of the other Zhao generals, and find out a bit more what's going on with all of them.
So on page 15, do you think you'd be able to say that, Adam? I can go first if you want.
God, on page 15.
Of 109.
Man, you're really gonna make me do this. Also, before we do this, they say 40,000 here instead of 400,000.
Yeah, I think that's just an error.
Okay, I also thought this was an error because I was pretty certain it was 400,000.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, we'll go on. You want me to fucking say what? Have a good taste?
Yeah, of all of it.
I don't want to do.
I'll go.
You
Go
guys,
ahead, Evan.
you go.
I'll go first. Have a good taste. All of it. Of all of it. Have a good taste of all of it.
Is that what you legitimately think he sounds like in your head?
Yeah, he's like a Pico situation. Yeah. Where like he's like this menacing, disgusting looking figure, and this is only the beginning of your suffering. You know.
Okay. Not what I envisioned at all, but that's really funny. Jesse, do you know oh, you don't know who Pika is. You didn't read that far in One Piece.
Oh no. Pika from One Piece, no.
Yeah. All right, Jesse, what do you think he sounds like?
I think Mangoku's got like an old cartoon evil scientist vibe. Like have a good taste of all of it.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
That's like if from Dexter's Lab grew up.
Yeah. They have a whole like hour-long special about that.
Oh,
It's
you're
so
right.
good.
They do.
It's a really good one. Yeah.
Dude, I forgot
something
about that.
Eagle, right?
What?
Wasn't it called something like Eagle was in the title of it?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't remember what it was called. All I know is there was like 4 different timelines of Dexter.
Yeah. Dude, old Dexter is so
Old man
amazing.
Dexter. Yeah, Old man Dexter is hilarious. Rip Dexter and Teen Dexter. I think he sounds. I think he sounds more like have a good taste of it all, but like not at all what I just fucking did. You know.
That was fine.
Like
Yeah,
I think he's got like this deeper weird voice. I don't know.
No, we'll get more lines from him. You know, like we'll kind of be able to figure it out. I'm sure.
I'm sure. We'll solve this mystery one day.
It'll happen eventually.
Real quick, I looked up the Dexter movie. It's called Ego Trip.
Oh, dude, you were so close. You thought eagle. It's like the same thing.
That's some Bone Apple Tea shit right
that's
there.
Mangoku's laugh.
Yeah, that's how he laughs.
He laughs like Mandark.
Yeah.
Even though he sounds like Dexter.
Funny enough, Mandark was based off of Mangoku.
Mandark, Mangoku.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's there. That's there. In another universe, that'd be funny. Anyway, guys, at the end of this chapter, we get to see Shin again after he does his training. I'm a little disappointed that we didn't get to see his training. But I like the people in the background cheering for Shin, and also En sitting there, JoJo posing,
doing that Slav squat.
Dude,
someone should have drew an Adidas tracksuit on this man.
Maybe we could do that.
Maybe I could do that and put that as a thumbnail.
That's actually a pretty good idea. But it's a nice little wrap up for that little bit, that chapter. Another really solid chapter. The next one we're coming up on, we get to see Taku, we get to see the B brothers going out to because we didn't mention, there was an emergency conscription to fight against the invading Zhao.
Mm-hmm.
So they got like 100,000 conscripts. So we see the B Bros, we see Taku, we see some of the other guys from the first campaign, the thugs. You see Denyu, Chutetsu, but Shin hasn't gotten there yet. So they're all like, Shin hasn't been here, but there's nothing to worry about. It's unthinkable for him to come. Like that's pretty anime moment.
Also, real quick, Haru, the on page 6, middle panel all the way to the right, the older guy with the mustache.
Yeah.
Last time we called him Dene. Dene literally looks exactly like him, but younger and doesn't have a mustache, which is why I thought he was Dene. So I'd like to correct that and say that this is Haru or Hyro. Not good with these names.
I think it's Hyro. I'm trying to find it. It's like Hairo.
Yes, that's how it's spelled. Yeah. Also, I find it really funny that every character is introduced and their names are spaced, like HAI space ROU. But anytime, like when they're introduced, their names are spaced. When they are being talked to or their name is brought up, it is not spaced. It is put together.
Yeah, what is up with that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Is that like a language thing?
I don't know. I don't know if that's just to save space in these bubbles for the translators. I don't really know.
Yeah, wish I could tell you.
But yeah.
Because I never noticed that, but you're 100% correct.
Yeah, there's like one chapter here where they show like all the squad leaders for Shin's 100-man squad, and all of them have their names spaced out, but when they're Bihei is one word when they're talking to him, but Bihei is BI space HEI.
So basically when the names are getting displayed rather than
right. Whenever the names are displayed, they're spaced. Whenever they're not displayed, they're not spaced.
I don't know. If anybody in the comments could actually have any insight into that, I would be very curious.
Yeah.
And would very much appreciate if anybody that was listening.
Yeah, let us know if that's a translator thing or if that's a translation thing.
Or a safe space, a space saving thing, like you said, Adam.
Right.
So while this is all going on, Bayou, the sister city of Bao, is getting sieged by the Zhao, and we see Mangaki again, who has no shirt on. And here's a good example of this is actually what I was thinking of when I was talking about his teeth. They're drawn fangy, but they're also drawn square and black. It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
And he only has 8 of them. Is that like a mouth guard?
It's got a grill.
Yeah, it's a grill for sure.
Oh, wow.
This is also one of the few times they draw Mangaki and his hair actually blocks part of his eyeballs.
Right. Yeah, normally
otherwise you just
see it. Horrifying.
It's kind of weird that he's not wearing chest armor right now, because he does.
Yeah, he
wears.
Just
yeah, but he normally does. Like in the later chapters, he's gonna have armor on.
They honestly might have gone through these chapters and not enjoyed the whole like, oh, this dude's a fucking sexual pervert like aspect to it.
Right, maybe changed it up.
At the same time, like, look at his chest there. Look at his pecs. That might just be like armor or something. Look at the size of his fucking pecs.
Yeah, his pecs literally look like they should be armor, but I don't think it is, because we see his abs, we see his belly button. He doesn't have nipples, but
well, on the side here, you see these arrows on this page, on this panel here. And if you move the arrow up to his chest, like it's like he's got pecs the size of an arrow. That's a little weird, but yeah, now he's definitely.
The man's rocking a 10-pack.
Yeah, he's got a 10-pack. He's pretty ripped.
But I mean, for as good looking as he is on his chest, I mean, brush your teeth, buddy. It's not that fucking hard.
You think how was dental hygiene couldn't have been that fucking good back then?
Oh no.
You'd be surprised at how many people throughout history have died from their teeth. Just because how bad that shit was.
They fall out and they choke on them.
Yeah.
I'm sure, like in your sleep or something,
Yeah,
maybe.
pirates who had scurvy had to deal with choking on teeth all the time.
Also heart disease, I believe. Uh, a lot of, and also infections and shit. Yeah. So, Mangoku, spoiler alert, dies from teeth disease. Chapter 472. But so they're attacking Bayou, and luckily, while everybody else is out in Han, they already have Dukyo fighting against or facing off against Wei, and the other dude in the south against Chu. Mobu at least was in the center area, which I didn't expect on my first read through. I didn't expect them to shove Mobu in this sort of a light. You know, like the thing with the Ryofui faction is like they're the bad guys, but they're still part of the Qin state. So when it comes to stuff like this, like the Ryo, like fighting against other nations and stuff, the Ryofui faction, like it can't be understated how important they really are.
Right.
Like yes, they're bad guys for sure, but they're pretty goddamn important. They're basically the power of the state.
And I know we're calling them bad guys, but like I feel
Well,
like
they're antagonists, right? They're
right,
antagonists
right, right,
to Sei's court.
right. I wouldn't really call them villains. Maybe Rio Fui is like a straight up villain.
Mhm.
But even so, like Shohekun, Mobu, I don't know. We don't really know Rishi's ambition, but like those two guys just like they're just doing whatever their ambition is. Mobu just wants to prove he's the strongest, and Shohekun's just a great military advisor. So
Yeah,
but yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. I know we paint them in this light that they are the bad guys because technically, yes, they are the bad guys, but they're
yeah,
really not, you know. They still want what's best for Chin.
yeah. That's the thing. Like they're aligned with Ryofui. It seems mostly because he can help them with their ambitions and stuff. He's the most powerful character, and power attracts power. Um, but at the end of the day, the state is really the top of the line. But since Mobu is here, he can actually lead the defense against this Zhao invasion. Get to see Shogun-kun pull a little bit of rank here, and Shohei-kun actually backs him up to Mobu when Shogun-kun says that Mobu should not be the commander in chief, and he basically explains himself as that Mobu's by far like the strongest on offense. Like he can run that ball, but when it comes to defense, there's nothing that he can do.
Right.
And they're saying like, oh, there's nobody else to do this, but there is definitely still somebody else. For some reason, they all forgot about Oki, the single strongest general in all of Chin, and he shows up at the end of this chapter with Toe and Toe as well as Shin, and that's a nice at the very last page of chapter 110. I love this. I love this page.
Yeah, it's a great page. Good panel. I also like that you
Dude.
said toe in toe.
Yeah, yeah. That was I just couldn't help it myself.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Um, really cool chapter. A lot of the dynamics, but inside of the Ryofui faction get shown off with Sei's faction present, which is like a little bit strange. Because there's like a little bit of Shohei-kun and like putting Mobu down and telling him like knock it off, you fucking dickhead.
Mm-hmm.
The next chapter, we see that Shin's training is like put on hold because they're just going to go straight up to the battlefield. And then the second page, this double page spread where of Toe, Oki, and Shin showing up, and everybody looking at them like Nani the fuck for some reason.
For some reason, it looks like Shin has like a surprised face because they showed up as well. But like,
Yeah, everyone that's usually here is here. Yeah. Well, that's Shin. I guess I think it's supposed to be he's under the pressure of all these incredible people, you know?
I think he's just trying to look angry and fierce. And he's
Just
it looks like he
show off
has
in front of
to. It
everybody.
looks like he's got the sweats, the meat sweats,
Yes, on their way in, they had like one too many sausages.
and now he's
And
got the meat sweats.
but Mobu just straight up just faces off with Oki. Which I forgot how big Mobu is. Like Oki's a massive boy, but like look at that man. Look at how fucking big Mobu is compared to him.
Right.
And Oki's the size of a horse. Oki's bigger than a horse.
Yep. There's actually, I don't know if it was in this chapter or this arc. I feel like it's in this arc. I don't think I wrote it down, but there's one point where like I think Oki pulls up next to some random soldier, or it might have been Heki, and Oki's horse's head is at Heki's head, and Heki's sitting
Right.
on his horse.
Right,
So it's just
right,
like
right.
he's so fucking massive, and his horse is so fucking big. And then you see Mobu, and Mobu is just a good head taller than Oki.
Dude. Oh yeah, I'm sure we'll be able to pick it out when we're reading through this, because I'm 100%. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's just so ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
So Oki's like, oh yeah, everyone's like, what the fuck are you doing here, you bro? Where are you at, Oki? And it turns out Shohei-kun like sent for him immediately as soon as like they called for conscription. Mobu's putting up a fight and everything, but like he just bitches him down. He bitch slashes him down. We have this really cool page where Oki and Mobu face off, and Mobu's just like, I'm not gonna recognize a relic of the past like you, and Oki's like, oh, I recognize you though, and that's like, whoa, Oki recognizes this dude. Must be the real deal, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was gonna point this out. I thought this was really cool because Oki is definitely not the type of person to just like get in your face and not bully, but you know what I mean, like not like intimidate you. And when Mobu does this, he's just like, oh, well, I think you're pretty cool.
Yeah. I've been looking at you. I've noticed you.
I've no food at you a few times.
Your senpai has noticed you. So he demands everybody leaves the throne room to get appointed in a ceremony with only the two of them, which is obvious bullshit, you know. Like, and they says as much, like, dude, what are you doing? Like, what are you're coming up with a lie and you're just not gonna say anything. So they have this little back and forth, like, oh, what have you been doing? Oh, what have you been doing? And at the end of this conversation that they have, Oki says that he has a message to say from King Sho that he bade him to pass on to, future kings that were, yeah. So we don't get to see that conversation, unfortunately. But they're in there for a while, and Toe, I guess, was also in there because he walks out of the doors and he's like, "Oh yeah, you guys can come out." Look how beefy he is, though. Look how beefy Toe is. His chin is magnificent.
What page is it?
In chapter 112 on page 4.
Chapter 112, page 4.
Yeah, on the top left corner there. Toe is he's like a thick Slim Jim. That man.
Thick Slim Jim. Toe's cool. Everyone likes Toe. Everyone's a big Toe fan.
I don't think I've met a single person that doesn't like Toe.
Show me the man that doesn't like Toe. I spit in his face.
This chapter, we also get to see Sei being pretty king-like, appointing Oki as the commander-in-chief of this army, and what's it called? Just the way that, I don't know, the way that everything plays out with Sei's speech and stuff about how Zhao is invading and how he's appointing him as the commander. It's like you get to see a little bit of the reactions of people like watching this happen, and I think this is like one of the points where it's like showing Sei's also growing, you know. But quickly after that, we show Bayou how it's a bad position. Shin and Sei have a little conversation where Sei warns him like the Zhao armies, they surprised us this time, so like be on the lookout. We get a little bit of Heki right before Kyokai comes back into the scene. At first, Heki's like, "What the fuck? Like, what are you doing here, Shiyu?" But then he remembers Shin told him like, "Be cool with Kyokai," you know, which is good for him. But apparently, according to Kyokai, her sword is like irritated, so this, which is a tell that like this battle that's coming up is going to be awful. Later on in this chapter, at the very end of this chapter, we see Shin showing up to the mustering grounds and confident that everybody's already gathered into formation and stuff, or into their groups. And this next chapter, yeah, it starts off with squad leaders of Shin's 100-man group. So we got a lot of old faces, but we got a few new faces as well. Sugen. I don't think Sugen is new, right?
No, Sugen is new. I mean, this is like the first time we're getting all of his commanders, so.
No, I'm saying Sugen wasn't in the first campaign, right?
Yeah, Sugen wasn't in the first campaign.
Okay. But what I'm saying is a lot of them were.
Yeah, Kyoji, Haru, Batsuken, I think Bunketsu.
I think Rowan.
Maybe Rowan. I don't remember him, but maybe Rowan.
Taku.
Obviously Taku, Bihei, Bito,
Bros.
Denyu, Chutetsu.
Oh, Seki's in this too. I forgot about
Yeah, the Blue Mountain Tribe.
that. Mm-hmm.
They're awesome.
Ryusen. Goddamn.
Yeah, Ryusen.
What a lineup of boys, eh?
Mm-hmm. Very, very important boys.
I guess for some reason, word hadn't gotten to the B brothers that Shin was a special 100-man unit. Somehow. I'm pretty certain. Didn't they no, it was Denyu and the others who helped Shin out get that armor, which he's still not wearing, by the way.
Yeah, shout out to Hawkman for pointing that out.
Yeah.
The fact that he went through all that fucking trouble to get the armor and didn't even bring it with him for this campaign.
Yeah, dude. Makes no sense.
It's pretty goofy.
So Shin makes a speech saying like, "Oh yeah, most of this is people who survived Dakan plains. They're under command of Oki personally, and get some like good swag out of it." He's basically, inspiring them with loot. And then the rest of this chapter is basically this conversation with Oki and Shobun-kun, which I thought was really cool. It gets like a little bit of a backstory of those two, and it shows both Oki and Shobun-kun like as youngsters coming up in the ranks. I really like the shots of Shobun-kun and Oki and just like the traditional or like the standard like captain's armor and stuff rather than like Oki's flamboyant armor or like Shobun-kun's like personal stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like they look exactly like a 100 commander or a 1,000-man commander would look.
Right.
Except Shin because he doesn't wear armor for some reason.
He will eventually,
But this convo though sets up the fact that Bayou, where this battle is being placed, that's coming up, was where one of the last of the 6 generals fell in battle. Kyo. These both were there. Both of those guys. Shobun-kun and Oki had previously conquered Bayou for Chin, which is pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm. Pretty cool that the three of them took this city together so long ago.
Oki mentions that he was thinking that it's, he's going to part ways as one of the 6 generals. So basically letting go of the past and like kind of making a new name for himself. I mean, obviously his name is still known, but like he sees himself as more than just like one piece of the six generals now, you know? Kyokai shows up at the end of this chapter, Shin's mustering grounds. In the next chapter, straight up at the beginning, it has this kind of weird art on chapter 114 on page 1 or 2. What is up with this? Why does this look different?
It looks like it was colored, probably, in the original release, and now it's like flipped to black and white. That's what it looks like to me.
Mm-hmm.
Huh? Maybe. That's interesting, because I didn't know if it was like they did this like oil like painting.
That's what it kind of looks like an oil painting.
Which is strange, but now that Jesse says that makes sense.
I don't know. I don't know.
So the rest of this chapter is basically just Shin and Kyokai saying like, nice, our 100-man unit's complete. You're the lieutenant, and then the B brothers show up and they're like, Kyokai, because like, of course they're hyped up. Why wouldn't they be hyped up that Kyokai's there? And the rest of this chapter, it's just some last final goodbyes before they set off for Bayou between Oki and Shogun-kun and a few other characters. Apparently, everybody that heard that Oki is actually coming out into battle are like super interested. You get to see a little bit of like on which page is this? On 114, page 9. You get to see some of the a few panels of the courts of some of the other countries that we haven't even seen yet. So we're familiar with Han now, kind of. We've seen Zhao, we've seen Wei. And this is Chi, Chu, and Yan. One of these characters is super, super impactful.
Yeah, and they're barely showing him, but yeah.
Yeah. So basically, what this is trying to say is that now that Oki is out, everybody's paying attention to this battle, like everywhere and all over China.
One important thing to mention as well, on like page 5, they say Oki says that Mobu is going to be the vice general for this army. So.
True. Yeah, and Mobu just sets out like immediately, and they're just going full charge for Bayou. So Bito and Shin have a conversation about like how it's dope that he's actually becoming an officer, and like how they told everybody what a badass he was at his original village. That's a nice little convo. I like Bito a lot.
Yeah, Bito's the boy.
The next page has a little bit of the soldiers talking about how shit sucks, like the Zhao are being brutal, and people are deserting and stuff. But Shin, makes the point that the reason that they're doing this is the reason that they're going to war is to protect them from these crazy ass people that are just murdering people for no reason. And everybody's still, like no matter what he says, it doesn't turn out good. Like he's not motivating them whatsoever. But Oki shows up at the very end of this chapter with like his lines and lines of cavalry, and everyone's just awestruck with him. The end of that chapter has like, and the beginning of the next chapter has like some really cool shots of Oki and his personal army. And just like with 3 words, he inspires the rest of the troops that were already faltering to continue on. This chapter is pretty important because it explains a little bit of the Kyokai's abilities and what makes Kyokai so potent. It also goes into the concept of Bushin. Even though the Shiyu aren't exactly Bushin, but they have something that's similar to what the Bushin do. But they're like the god of martial skills, is what that translates to. The Qin royal court finds out that the Zhao's commander-in-chief is named Hoken, and nobody knows what Hoken is except Shobunkun, who remembers that he shouldn't be alive. Oki killed him back in the day at Bayou. We get to see our first look of him like in the face on page 15 and page 16. Pretty dope character design. I love how his hair is flowing in the wind like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like the first panel you see of him, how his face is like blacked out or whatever. You just see his white eyes and the white scar.
Yeah, they're just glowing. Pretty dope.
You get to see some of the other Zhao generals behind him there as well.
Yeah.
Show Mo.
Yep.
This motherfucker.
Shumo.
Yeah. That's the big fat one, right?
Yeah, that's the big fat guy. He's got a pretty cool weapon. Well, I'll point it out later when they show it, but he's another guy with a pretty unique weapon.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the crescent, right?
Yeah, it's like a crescent moon.
Yeah. So the next chapter starts off with Shobunkun informing the court that Hoken was the one who defeated one of the 6 generals in the past. They told everybody, Shobunkun and Oki told everybody that it was a death from an illness. But what actually happened was Hoken just showed up one night in the midst of General Kyo's 2,000 person personal elite troops. He just showed up and he just started wrecking people. We see Hoken's first kill of the series in chapter 8 of chapter 116, where he just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 takes out 9 dudes in one go. 9 crossbow guys.
I love how their bodies are still aiming the crossbows.
Yeah.
He'd be fucked if some nerves or something just made them pull the trigger.
Yeah. But this is pretty cool. We see this a lot with Hoken, where he's literally just cutting 10 people in fucking half.
Yeah, I mean, most of the rest of this chapter is a lot of that. They surround him and they throw javelins at him, but he just swats them away and takes out literally 3 lines of dudes on page 12. So basically, what happened was nothing could beat Hoken until Oki showed up. Hoken took the life of Kyo, who came out to fight him. Kyo was quite the fighter himself. But Oki showed up and rushed over due to the commotion and was supposed to have killed Hoken. Shobunkun points out, that was the first and last time I ever seen Oki consumed by his emotions to such a degree. So basically, they're making the point that this battle is basically destined. It was carved deeply into fate 9 years ago, as it says at the end of the chapter. So really cool chapter. I like a lot of the backstory because we only get a little bit of backstory for a lot of these characters throughout the series, and this is one of the scant few examples of that. The next chapter, they talk a little bit about Kyo, who just showed up, took castle after castle after castle. What's it called? 53rd, yeah, takes the states of Han and Wei capitulate in fear and all. Yeah, so Kyo was a badass. They were the youngest of all the generals, but their ferocity in battle was the greatest. Even though no one, even though Kyo was the least known member, they still had the most glorious service record. I'm sorry, I'm kind of stumbling over my words right now.
Yeah, spit it out. Let's go.
God. There are rumors about Kyo never removing their mask. They said they might have been disfigured, or that Kyo was actually just a beautiful woman. Nobody knows for certain. What else in this chapter? I didn't really write too much in my notes for this chapter. Hello, why won't this load? Yeah, for some reason that's not loading for me.
I have a few notes. On pages 6 to 7, we see like Hoken cutting down. Or we see that Shobunkun was there the night that Hoken attacked Kyo's camp. And we see at the bottom of page 6 this panel of Hoken just like cutting through all this sea of soldiers to get to where Shobunkun is and Kyo's camp is. And the next panel is all these people getting sliced in half. And I wrote scary here because I legitimately think that Hoken in the bottom right panel looks scary.
He's a pretty scary dude.
It looks like he could be like like from like a slasher movie. The way the black hair and his face is portrayed there, but
Yeah.
Just imagine that this dude, you're watching this in front of you, like people, like 10 people at a time getting sliced in half, and this dude's just walking at you while your entire army is dying in front of you.
Like one dude versus 2,000.
Right.
In the middle of 100,000. Like, what the fuck?
All right. So
yeah, I like how it says too that he's leisurely walking forward.
Right.
Like he's not. It doesn't even look like he's trying.
And then on page 10, we get a really cool full panel of Hoken saying, "I am the Bushin."
Yeah. Yeah.
I like how everywhere on this page that his cape isn't flowing. There's just a head flying in the air.
And then they're just talking about his bullshit, and everything that he did that night, and then we get a really cool ending of this chapter with Kyokai talking about a little bit about the Bushin, but then she does like a priestess dance above the entire camp.
Blesses the campaign.
Right, blesses all the warriors and whatnot on the Chin side, which is pretty cool. Shin's watching.
Yeah, a little bit of the priestess aspect of the Shiyu, rather than just the straight up murderer, which they are mostly.
Yeah, we find out later that they're path seekers.
Right. That's a little bit farther out, not too much farther out. I think that's actually in this arc.
It is. I just don't know if we're gonna cover it in this episode, but
no, definitely not in this episode. Just because, that's even farther out. But in the next chapter, the Shin reinforcements show up finally at Bayou, and you're pointing out before, Adam, that on page 2 of this, there's like 3 guys that are still alive at the top, surrounded by bodies, and they're just like, yeah, woo,
we're saved.
Oh my god.
Meanwhile, we got like a sea of dead bodies up here, and like just the front line of people at this point are alive. All the reinforcements are dead.
So rather than break off the siege and completely, one of the strengths of this Zhao army is that there's a bunch of generals on their side, and they can do multiple things, at once. So there's like Mangoku's attacking the city still, but while the Shin reinforcements are shoring up, Koson Ryu is going out to meet them. Shin thinks they're just gonna charge right in and start killing people, but they get orders to march to the right from Oki. It's at this point we get a shot on page 7 of Hoken and the rest of the generals. So there's Choso, there's Koson Ryu, there's Shomo, there's Rihaku, Fuki, and Mangoku. And this is an awesome page.
Yeah,
I love this page.
Cool shot of them all on the right with Hoken leading them.
And one thing that needs to obviously be talked about is Hoken's the commander in chief, but he's not doing any of the general work.
Right.
Like, it's everybody else, and there's 6 generals that this Jin army is facing off. So it's basically Oki, Mobu, and the other vice commanders against like 6 plus Hoken, which is pretty fucking wild. Like, they're pretty outnumbered. Um, so there's a little bit of banter. They're asking like, why hasn't Oki attacked yet? They don't want to fight against the Zhao cavalry in open field, so they're trying to, get their own spot, like where they want to fight. Overlooking the battlefield is this old abandoned castle where Moki and Karyoten and some of the other advisors in the stratagem school, excuse me, are going to watch the battle. Ten apparently has prodigious eyesight because she can read the Zhao flags from that far away and can tell what's going on. So actually, they touch up on how the Zhao army has 5 generals. On the other hand, our side's general comprise only Oki and Mobu, but that's not a problem because there are Oki's vassals that are super powerful. And he says, rumors say that those vassals all possess capabilities on par with actual generals. We got a nice, besides Toe himself, there's the spread on page 12 of his vassals there. These are all the guys who have fought with Oki for years and years and years. Heki's on the battlefield. He's a 1,000-man commander now. Him and Shin and the Hishin unit are going to be deploying close in formation. And we get this really dope shot of the Zhao across from the Qin, where there's just hundreds of thousands of people. That's an awesome shot. I guess they just it's like what is that where you make art where it's like just dots? What is that called again? Do you guys know?
No, I don't know the name of that, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what it's. I don't know what it's called, but I know what you're referring to. I love these shots. He does this a lot. We'll see this later too when like he like is making an entire unit, like 10,000 man unit, like move in like a triangle formation through the battlefield. It's just like all these dots moving forward with dust kicking up behind them.
I believe it's in this next chapter that happens, right? Because I believe this is the start of a next volume. But not exactly what you were talking about is what I mean. But it has another one of these spreads at the beginning of the next chapter on page 7, where it lays out, here's the Qin side and here's the Zhao side, and 20,000, 20,000, 20,000, which it's kind of similar to what you're talking about. I think I know exactly what you're talking about though with the triangle. So it seems, we can talk about the battlefield a little bit. On the Zhao side, it's evenly spread, 20,000 troops on each section, and plus the headquarters. The Qin side is outnumbered slightly by 20,000. So in the center, there's 2 sections of 20,000, but on the sides, it's only 10,000, with 10,000 in reserve. Oki headquarters has 10,000, and Shin's unit is behind one of the 20,000 troop lines as just like a little tiny little blob there. They're a completely independent unit, so they're not even included in any of the bigger divisions, which is a little bit weird, but considering what they're about to do, it's not that unusual. So basically, Jin's deployed 40,000 men in the center to penetrate because the Zhao will be trying to penetrate into the Qin headquarters flank. We get a little bit of Heki in this chapter. We see that Mobu's got 20,000 guys that he's going to go as the vanguard and just charge in. I'm sorry, he's got 40,000 guys that he's just going to go straight into the center. Karyoten is surprised when Moki tells her that, Mobu's his father. The whole family is pretty important. Everybody on the Zhao side understands that Mobu has quite the reputation for being a brute and brutal and badass. But they think that they're able to meet him head on with this exact kind of brutality but it doesn't turn out too well for them. We get Mobu's first confirmed kills on page 15 of chapter 119. A pretty great page. His weapon is nothing but a steel rod at the end of a longer steel rod, yet he's able to just completely slice apart these dudes somehow. I guess just with brute strength, you know?
Yeah, Adam mentioned this last episode, and he put it very funnily. I
Yeah.
think he said it's like pushing their bodies apart or whatever.
Yeah.
I really do like the way that his kills are drawn. It's like so much more gruesome and just like chunks of people like unevenly like. And
Yeah.
when like Hoken was slicing people down, it was all even cuts, clean cuts and everything like that. And this is just
They're just
people
brutalized.
being ripped apart.
Yeah.
Gruesome. I mean, you could see all the different heads flying, the different bodies that are just in pieces, but very chunky pieces. Blood is splattering. One of the few times where they show, because like a lot of times they do a cut and it's a clean cut, and then like the next panel, like blood starts spurting. His is just straight up. You get everything in this one panel.
In the next page, actually, the Zhao commander that thought he could take on Mobu gets his head crushed in one of the panels on the middle there on the right side.
It's a hilarious death.
Nice, yeah, pretty quick too. I mean,
I also like when they draw that same panel on the left where his weapon's like bending because he's moving it so quickly. I like when they do that with like the glaives and whatnot. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree.
And on the bottom panel, it's funny how that horse is just flying through the air.
Yeah,
pretty unharmed.
While his rider is fucking decimated.
Yeah, he's still flying up in the air though.
That's just the strength of Mobu.
So everybody on the Chin side's like, "What the fuck? That's fucking wild, dude." Like they're looking at that happening and they're like, "Dude, that's amazing. He's a monster. Yeah, that's just we're gonna win this shit." But at the same time, we have the Zhao Vanguard on the other side, who's apparently just as ferocious, and we have this guy. This is the weapon you were talking about.
Yeah.
It's like a crescent moon, and he's slicing people, and he also has picked this guy up and crushed his head within his hand.
Yes,
it is dope. I like this this like circle of blood that he made with his weapon.
Yeah.
I guess that's what that is supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
Yo.
This slice.
Look right under the horse's head. There's like a little hand floating. It looks like the horse has a little hand.
Yeah, because that guy's right in the trajectory of the slice.
Right.
So I guess yeah.
That's
weird.
Funny.
That horse looks like it's on crack or something.
Yeah, that horse looks fucking evil.
He's pissed off. That's like a Nazgul horse.
Look at Shomo's face in the bottom left. He looks like fucking Humpty Dumpty or something.
Honestly, the fucking worst. I hate the fucking guy. I hate his face.
I hate his rolls.
He's like the Little Bits character on Rick and Morty.
Little Bits.
Little Bits. Do you guys have a big head and a small face?
That's good.
So that guy's tearing shit up. The Shin boys turn around and are like, fucking, what is Oki doing here? Oki just shows up and for some reason he's away from his headquarters. The rest of a lot of this chapter is, Moki's telling us what's going on in the battle, where Mobu's momentum is delayed because he's getting attacked from both sides by archers and infantry. But at the same time, the Zhao Vanguard isn't having the same problem. And the Zhao side, they're saying, like, Mobu's strength is even greater than the rumors say, but they're not able to beat Rihaku's defenses by brute strength alone. And so Rihaku defense, Shomo destruction, Mangoku of Assault and all-rounder Kosan Ryu. If I was Kosan Ryu, I'd be pissed off.
I know.
All
All-rounder.
rounder, really? That's the fucking. This is bullshit, man.
Ugh. So that's that. I would be pretty pissed if I were him. But then finally, then of course, there's Fuki of Intellect, who is said to possess an eye for tactics equal to that of strategist. So wouldn't that just mean he's a strategist?
No, dude, he's intellect. Come on, idiot.
Dude, I just ate this burger that was equal to that of McDonald's burger. I got it at McDonald's.
We also get the thing I was talking about on the next page, on page 6, the middle panel with the horse head next to Heki's fucking head.
On the next page, you said?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're right. You're right. That's wild. That's fucking ridiculous. Look at Oki's horse, though. Look at its legs. It's kind of like drawn weird.
It's drawn
Like
a
where it's
little bit
like
weird.
it's like where it connects to the body. It's like you
Its
see that?
legs, its legs should definitely be more out in front of it, I feel like.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
It just looks like they just put a horse torso and put it on some sticks.
Yeah, the mangaka definitely has some weird horse drawings now and then, but that's all right. We forgive.
So basically, the reason Oki is here is because he's got to explain to Heki and the Left Army and Kano, who's one of Oki's vassals, is that they need to reduce, quote unquote, reduce the number of enemy pieces, which basically means that they need to kill a general or two to make a real difference on this battle. And so the Shin unit is just standing there when Oki shows up to tell them the plan as well. And the mission, obviously, is to kill Fuki. There's actually one point that N questions Oki and is like, what's going on? And gives him the death glare. And N has one of those moments.
Yeah, I'm looking at that right now.
What page is it?
Page 15 of 120.
Oh yeah, okay. I see. The all white with the lightning in the background.
Yeah.
We also get a size thing on Oki on page 12, where like he's fucking gigantic.
Yeah, in front of all the Hishin unit.
Right.
They all can't. He's so big he can't breathe. They can't breathe. But on page 15 it says it shows a little bit of the reasoning. So, like in battles, you have to take advantageous positions. But the other thing you could do is kill the enemy generals, and as the battle progresses, an intelligent strategist like Fuki becomes more troublesome. So that's why they need to take out Fuki, and the Hishin unit is in a perfect position to do that. So, actually, they're not actually even technically the Hishin unit yet.
Right.
That's this next chapter that comes up, which I thought was the biggest part of maybe this arc, because the Hishin unit gets its fucking name.
Right,
Awesome.
which is super important.
Yeah.
Also, back to the end thing on page 15.
Mm-hmm.
It's in his mouth. It says "Aya," and I can't help but think of Jackie Chan Adventures.
Aya.
Aya.
Bad day, bad day, bad day, bad day. Wow.
Jackie Chan Adventures. Loved it. We
Thanks
should
for
cover
making
that next.
I don't even remember what the fuck that show was about. I just remember Jackie Chan doing those things we just quoted, and also Humogwegwe Faiji Shao,
Yeah.
which was his uncle, who was like a mystic, I guess. I
Right.
don't remember jack shit about the rest of the show, though. Not even gonna.
There's some talismans. They had powers.
Oh, there's like a bad dragon, right?
Yeah, there's a bad oh god, there's a baddragon.com for sure.
Yeah, go to baddragon.com/Jack Chan.
Don't go to baddragon.com. You've been warned.
Oh no, go to baddragon.com if that's your thing, but
Yeah. But if you don't know
definitely
what it is,
at the least don't type in /Jackie Chan. You will not like what you see there.
yeah, it'll just say 404 not found.
Oh God, man, that was good. So the rest of this arc is basically about the Hishin unit's first mission, and in like I said before, in chapter 121, they actually get the moniker the Hishin unit. Karyoten's watching from her vantage point with the rest of the strategists, the students and stuff, and they notice that there's a 100-man unit, and 10 instantly knows it's Shin. And they're going up around to flank the Zhao army and to surround, get into Fuki's range. It has like a tiny little bit of a flashback, even though this literally just fucking happened. Where they say, flank the Zhao army and take the general's head. So, which is something that Shin and En had done countless times in that stateless area that he just spent like 3 months in. They didn't have an army, but they have experience and have done this numerous times. They're basically going to loop around when the Qin left and the Zhao right are fighting, get around to the flank of the Zhao army and strike where Fuki is at. So they find this like kind of like cliffside. It's like almost like hedges and stuff, where the Zhao have scouts inside of it, but they're able to go underneath and avoid the Zhao scouts. And it shoots back to the army HQ where the situation is like the Qin right's been pushed back under the onslaught of Shomo, and Mobu's army in the center his progress is at a standstill due to Rihaku. The left army is progressing pretty good against Fuki, but they're in the riskiest position. And Oki's kind of sweating a little bit because he wants his arrow, which is the Hishin unit, to get to them soon, or else the left army is just gonna die. They get spotted by some of the Zhao scouts, but we see a little bit of Kyokai in this chapter doing whatever the fuck Kyokai does. On 121, chapter 17, or chapter 121, page 17, one of the Zhao scouts that's about to blow the whistle gets his hand sliced off.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys noticed that.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Kyokai's doing what Kyokai does best. Killing motherfuckers in silence. Like lasagna.
What?
Like real G's move in silence like lasagna, Lil Wayne.
Oh my god. No. I legitimately don't even think I could quote a Lil Wayne song besides I pick the whole world up and I drop it on your fucking head.
Yeah, that's a Lil Wayne. That's a Lil Wayne quote.
Horrible. Go on.
Hey, listen. You just aren't a real G if you can't move in around in silence.
Have you even seen Lil Wayne,
like
Evan?
lasagna.
Have you even listened to Lil Wayne?
Not at all, but
I've
I
seen
know
the man live. All right, I think I know a little bit about Lil Wayne.
Wait,
right?
You've seen him live?
Unfortunately.
Where was that? Firefly or something?
Yeah, there was no one else playing, and I was with people that wanted to see him, and there was literally, I couldn't even tell you whoever else was playing because there were a bunch of no names, and I was like, all right, I'll go get lunch and watch Lil Wayne with you fools.
Yeah. And it was bad.
I didn't know any of his music, so I can't really comment if he was good or not, but they enjoyed him, I guess. I don't know. I don't like Lil Wayne's music, so.
Yeah, me neither. Except, of course, for real G's move in silence like lasagna.
Yeah, see, I can appreciate
that's a funny line.
stupid lines, yeah. But if I'm gonna listen to someone who's got funny lines, you gotta listen to 2 Chainz.
2 Chainz.
Literally has a song where he goes, "Shout out to my stove. What up, stove?"
The only thing I really know about 2 Chainz is most expensivest shit.
Oh yeah,
You know, that's a good show
That is a good show.
where he does the most expensivest shit. You know.
Yeah, I like that show. It's funny.
Just on YouTube, friend of the show, 2 Chainz.
Yep.
Go give him a like, comment, and subscribe.
Tell him the Mangaki boys sent you.
Yeah, please do.
Let's make that hashtag trend on Twitter. Hashtag 2 Chainz. Hashtag friend of the show. Mangaki no Tsukai.
It's all one giant hashtag, so it's hashtag 2 Chainz spelled out hashtag friends of the show Mangaki no Tsukai.
But don't put a hashtag in it. Just tweet that out as one giant fucking word.
Made a new type of hashtag.
Yeah, Twitter will know what you're doing. It's fine.
And they never did another episode again because they made millions of dollars off of a new hashtag type. Anyway, so getting back to this, we're on chapter 122, from what I reckon. Heki's on the left is making progress, but it's all a feint. Oki realizes that it's a trap for them. As they're running away, Heki realizes that something's going on, that they shouldn't pursue them anymore. So he tells them to stop, but the infantry is so fired up from killing a bunch of dudes, and Oki as well, that they don't stop, and they disobey orders, and we get this really gorgeous shot on page 7 of chapter 122 of a bunch of guys getting their shit pushed in. I feel really bad, especially for this one guy in the direct center. He gets stabbed. Well, first off, from the guy in front of him gets stabbed through the mouth.
Oh god,
and
yeah.
he gets stabbed through the mouth, and also gets stabbed in the neck.
Yeah, well, look at the. Oh god, yeah, he does get stabbed in the neck. I was gonna say, look at the fucking people next to those two, because one spear is going through 3 people's heads.
Yeah. It's just getting more superficial.
Also,
Like, he'll survive. That guy in the back will probably survive it, but like,
right.
he's never the same.
Right. Also,
poor guy.
I wanted to point out the Lancer guy I was talking about before. He's on page 5. I just really like his armor. I think it looks really cool. The Zhao heavy Lancer armor. It's like baubles all over it, and his helmet, and the little things that come off the side of his helmet in front of his face.
I like the under eye thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Those like 2 little under eye guards, I guess. And he's got like a Centaurian fucking type of helmet with the bristles up top.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's a cool design for the Zhao heavy cavalry or heavy Lancer corps.
Ooh, excuse me. Their shields too are all spiky and shit.
Yeah. Do you think the spikes on the bottom of the shield is so that they dig into the ground better, or is that just like aesthetic?
Yeah. That's there to like anchor your position more. Also, I guess maybe just to, like, if somebody is on the ground and you shove your shield in the face.
That's true. It's true.
But yeah, I think that's supposed to be like, yep, they're there to hold their ground, and that's going to help them hold their ground.
I'd love to see a man like Mobu, though, swing one of those things around like a giant bear claw.
What would Mobu ever do with a donut?
Jesus Christ.
Probably have no idea. He'd probably be like, what the fuck is this thing?
I'm so angry, I'm going to eat this!
Double fisting bear claws.
That's some Dark Souls level shit.
That's like a Chris Farley reference, by the way.
Oh, nice. Yeah, because didn't he die from choking on 2 bear claws?
Oh my god. No, it's from a fucking movie. I think it's from Tommy Boy.
No, I know he didn't actually die like that.
Evan, you're a fucking horrible person.
Well, it's better than the alternative.
What's the alternative? Being a good person?
No. No, the fucking way he actually died was a drug overdose.
Oh, well, yeah. I thought you meant
I
like.
like to think that he choked on 2 bear claws and died, rather than like crack cocaine
Yeah, I guess
or
that's
whatever it
fair.
was.
I'm crying. Let's move on.
I'm literally crying.
I miss Chris so much.
So moving on then, while the guys are stopped by the heavy lancers, on the right side is like a hail of arrows where everybody apparently doesn't have shields or anything. I guess because these are just conscripts, and everybody just gets completely murdered by this hail of arrows. So the Hishin unit needs to like they're starting to get a little bit demoralized, and so Shin stops them and is like, "All right, here's the plan. We're gonna get there, but um, the moment that they break in, they're gonna notice them and defend against them. So they're gonna start off with like the 4 monster strength squad leaders, which is Chutetsu Sanka Denyu and new boy Ryusen, who's supposedly twice as strong as Denyu is.
Supposedly.
Supposedly.
Right. That's an important supposedly.
Right.
So Ryusen's looking pretty fucked up because he just had a kid, and this is his first campaign ever, and everyone's like, "Oh, if he dies here, he'll never see his kid's face again, and the kid's gonna lose a father too."
He's never even seen the newborn kid's face, Evan.
Well,
That's what they say, Evan. Get your shit
you
straight.
know, you're fucking right. Okay.
Yeah, I know. Go
Listen,
on.
are you mad that I made fun of Chris Farley's body or something?
No, I'm not mad. Just
But
keep going.
so Shin's like, yeah. So let's get back on topic, guys. So he said, we either take this guy's head or we fail. Like we're gonna die either way. But if we fail, then all the people back in the villages are gonna die. The baby is gonna die. Come on, Ryusen. Like if you don't go through with this, then your kid's probably gonna die because this Zhao invasion isn't conquer. This is extermination. So Ryusen's like and smashes his head on page 15. I guess to get over his fear, and he's just next page he's got this mark on his head with the rocks of the ground still there. And he's just like, all right, let's do this shit. Second to last page here on page 17 of this chapter, the Hishin unit comes in sight of the Zhao flank. Really dope page here. It shows, they're shooting down on the Qin other forces, but at the same time, like they're just coming in through a pillar. We got the monster squad up front. I like Chutetsu's face on the right here.
Yeah.
He's always making this dumb.
Yeah.
But the first one to make it to the lines is Ryusen himself. That's where the chapter ends. And the next chapter, it starts off right where it picked up. Ryusen, they're like, "Oh, Ryusen, you're pulling out too far," and he's having like images of his wife and his lover and the baby and stuff, and he's thinking everyone's still like, "Oh, Ryusen, like fall back, like you're gonna die," but he's just like, "Denyu, there's one thing you mistaken about. My monstrous strength is 3 times as strong as yours."
Oh my god. Fucking Manga Dex is pissing itself right now because I can't even get it to load to show these panels right now.
Yeah, I was doing that for me too a few chapters ago. It was really annoying. Yeah, it's been acting weird today. I don't know what it is. Maybe they're doing maintenance or something. Maybe there's just like a lot of people on it.
Maybe it's because we're on it and they're like, "That's too much. That's too
Yeah,
much to handle." These
we
guys
can't allow them to do this.
can't allow them to do this. Also, this is like a real Dark Souls moment. Fucking stupid naked fuck with a stick walks up to a fully armored man with a shield and spears and just beats the shit out of him.
Like 4 of them, dude. He's got like a baseball bat.
Right, like a whole fucking line. Yeah, but what could that be made of? Fuck it, it's wood, right? It's like a wooden club.
I think so.
Right,
I don't know.
Metal club.
Maybe it's metal. I don't know.
Is it a metal club?
Because I mean, if it isn't metal, then how the fuck is he breaking metal spears and shit?
I don't know, because
Well,
he's
maybe
three
the other
Totally
times
looks
as
wood.
because he's 3 times as strong as Denyu. That's how,
Yeah.
Evan.
But then that would mean it would break too. Anyway,
Anyway, let me get this. Now that I've stalled long enough to get manga decks to work.
Oh, you got it up now?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go.
3 times as strong. All right.
My monstrous strength is 3 times as strong as yours.
You're gonna pay for that, mister.
Yeah. You're gonna pay for that, mister. So moving along, back on topic. Heki's units having a real rough time of it. The Chin side is really not doing too well. And on page 8 of this chapter, on 123, we see Heki get shot up like 4 times, including in the fucking neck.
And his horse.
His horse gets shot in the neck as well. And it's like, God damn it, Heki. Poor guy. I fucking love Heki, and I hate seeing my boy get hurt.
My prize baby boy.
A lot of the rest of this chapter is just the Hishin unit continuing forward. They broke through, so the monstrous units aren't as fast as everybody else, but they're super strong. So they swap out with Sugen's 5-man squad. And Sugen previously had been talking some shit about how he was like more deadly as a swordsman than any of the other captains, and he gets to show his mettle a little bit. And he wasn't all talk, you know. Him and his squad are just a bunch of swordplay fanatics. It shows, you know, a little bit of the position that the Zhao army and the Qin army is in. The Zhao army is like trying to bait the Qin into escaping, so that as soon as the trapped Qin army leaves and like breaks rank, they're just going to be able to slaughter them from all sides. Because in battle, most casualties come from the retreat rather than the battle itself. So that almost happens, and even Fuki's like, "Oh, that's it, that's the end." But Heki somehow survives, and it's like, "No, guys, don't. As a trap, we only got to keep going forward." Thank God Heki survived here.
Yeah, seriously. Fucking smacks this one dude in the face with a spear. Like, don't retreat.
Dude, Manga Dex is also acting weird for me right now too with this chapter. Can you guys pull up 124?
No, I refuse.
Please.
It's working okay for me.
Yeah, I have it up. It's fine.
Okay, yeah, just because I can't see that right now.
All right. You want one of us to talk about it?
Yes, please, if you don't mind. I'm trying to pull this up.
Jesse, you've been awfully quiet. Why don't you take it from here?
Okay, so like Evan was saying, you know, he's trying to get them to not retreat. We must move forward. And then the commander Khan O shows up, and he's got his cavalry with him, and he's a pretty badass character that we're going to be seeing quite a bit of over the next few chapters. Go back to Fuki, who was not at all disturbed, says. And there's still arrows kind of flying down everywhere. And let's see here. I guess all of this was kind of distracting with Khan O showing up and everything, that Fuki did not notice the presence of the He Shin unit, which was closing in pretty close now. And let's see. I will say I like this guy Shosa, right, on page 8, the smiling dude who's always smiling.
Yeah, Shosa's great.
Yeah, we get a couple characters who are like constantly smiling every time we see them.
Here we go.
Yeah, let's see. Adam, bail me out here, brother.
Okay. So we got Chosa smiling. He's stabbing people. The Haitian units, making their way through the Zhao army. And we get this little bit of dialogue between Chosa and Rowan, and they're talking about, that even though that these soldiers are well trained, soldiers that are normally well trained when they're not receiving orders are kind of like headless chickens. They don't really know what they should be doing because they're so used to receiving orders and just doing as they're told. And even though they're really well trained and they can execute really well, when they're not receiving orders, they kind of crumple a bit. So that's because of the distraction of the Heki and the Kan-O units. Hishin units having a bit easier of a time breaking through this line. Especially with the way that they're swapping out who's leading the vanguard for them and whatnot. So finally, word reaches Fuki that, Shin and Ko are, running through his sides. And he's like, oh, okay, well, if that's what your plan is, Oki. He looks directly at Oki, and Oki's smiling at him.
From like miles away.
Right, because apparently they both understand that they're both looking at each other. He's like, go ahead and try and take my head if that's your idea, if that's your strategy. And that's pretty much the end of that chapter. The end of the chapter breaks through, ends with Hishin breaking through the sea of 20,000 men unit, and they're like, that's it. All we got to do is get through these last lines of men, and we're at Fuki. But now they're ready for them, and they have their elite guards waiting for the Hishin unit, who's pretty fucking tired at this point. I mean, 100 guys just had to run through, several hundred, well-trained Zhao units, and even if they weren't, receiving orders and doing as well as they could have, I mean, just imagine having to just run for this long while cutting down people in front of you.
Yeah.
While blood and piss and shit and guts are filling the air with a disgusting smell. Like, it's probably super hard to breathe through all of that while running and fighting, so.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody is absolutely soaked with sweat and probably other fluids as well.
Right.
And I like on page 15, we saw some of this earlier, I think, with Sugen. This picture of Shin fighting, and it's like 3 of Shin. It's kind of showing the movement throughout the panel. We're kind of seeing that more lately. I feel like from the artist, where he's like showing multiple, where like the movement throughout, where it's like not just one Shin. There's 3 of them there. So
yeah.
And it's really cool here because a lot of the guys that hadn't seen Shin in the first campaign, so like these, if you look on page 15, there's these 2 guys, and there's actually another one. I think his name's Ryuyu. They were part of the second. We didn't bring this up, but they were part of the second army that got to Dokken Plains and was like absolutely decimated, by the way, before the 4th army showed up.
Yeah.
And they didn't get to see Shin fight at all. So when they see this, they're like, geez, he was this fucking strong. And Shin's probably pretty well rested at this point. He's been riding on a horse the entire time and not really doing a lot of the fighting. He's probably been fighting, but again, he's mounted on a horse, so he's saving a lot of energy. So like when they get there and they see this ring of fucking soldiers blocking their way, even ends like, this isn't good, we're all fucking exhausted, and Shin just like, nah, it's cool, I got this. And then the next panel, we also see Kyokai had also stepped up and sliced down a bunch of people.
Yeah, Shin and Kyokai really showing why they're the main characters in this part here.
Right, really showing off how badass the officers are.
Also, I don't really know if it's like come up yet, but I know for a fact that everybody still thinks Kyokai's a boy.
Seriously, all of them. Are they fucking daft?
They're all. Are you what, mate?
You daft, mate.
Yeah. They even call Kyokai like Kyokai-kun.
Like, come on, guys. Okay, we haven't gotten to it yet, but I think Denyu knows that Kyokai isn't a boy, but we haven't gotten to that part yet. I don't know if that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think we're actually gonna get to that in this episode either. But I'll be sure
No,
to
I
point
don't
it out
think
next
so.
time. No, that's during the night
Mhm.
stuff.
Right.
Evan, are you good to continue as our host?
Yeah. Sorry, I'll keep this going along. For some reason, it just wasn't loading for me.
That's fine.
I had to like reload the website on a new tab.
It's fine. It
Um,
was fun being the host for a minute or two.
Yeah, she's got to talk, you know.
I got nervous.
Yeah, Jesse was crazy, not good at it.
It's okay. I'm not the best at it either.
No,
I think Adam is the best at it.
I was literally joking. Jesse should be good at it. He has his own goddamn podcast where he talks about things.
Yeah, Jesse, why
Yes.
aren't you good at this?
That's not what I'm saying. Stop.
I'm just kidding, too. All right, so moving along to chapter 125. The Hisshin units, like, damn. They're like, Shin, like, damn.
Damn, son.
So, they're progressing forward. The Zhao's like, oh, one of the Zhao commanders like, oh, it's only 100 dudes, half dead on their feet. What are they gonna do? And then the other guy's just like, don't fucking belittle them. Like, look what they've already done. Look what they're doing. Like, we gotta take these guys out. Like, there's gonna be no greater shame than losing to the fucking dude. So yeah, in this chapter it shows the how one-sided this battle has become. The ones that are retreating are just running away or getting shot down by rains of arrows. The other ones were just cut down by cavalry. Heki and Kano's men are down to like 1,500 dudes. But there's like 30% of its original numbers remaining, and that was pretty quick. And they're saying like, Choso's saying like, Oki wanted Fuki's head, but he took him way too lightly, and he paid a tremendous price for this. Go back to the Shin unit; they're just chopping down people left and right. The Shin unit, like, they're watching Shin cut down people, and every time he does, like, their body like wells up in strength, and like they're following him to the ends of the earth. While this is going on, in Koson Ryu's base camp, Mangoku's also moving. Shomo's army is also still on the offensive. The center hasn't changed. Mobu's still stalled. They're talking about the range of generals. So like they're saying like, Shomo and Mangoku, for instance, have a range that specializes in melee at the front. Him and Rihaku have a range that covers the breadth of like the three armies, like the three different fronts that are going on. The strategical dispositions of people like Choso and Fuki have ranges that encompass the entire battlefield. But the problem is, when something gets too close to people like that, they might not like notice, or not that they won't notice, but it's a bit out of their expectations and their planning. Case in point, obviously, the Hisshin unit, which in this chapter at the end of 125 gets within striking distance of Fuki's camp. At the same time, where is he? Oh, wait, never mind. Sorry. The Hisshin unit left behind the majority of their troops to hold back the people, so that they can just go straight up against the main bodyguard of the commander. They even say here that they use their lives, their comrades, as shields. And it was En's idea, actually, where he stayed behind with a lot of the troops, and who still needed like an officer to direct them. And then the veterans like Denyu and like Kyokai and like the most hardest of asses of the Shishin unit so far will go forward. Kyokai needs to get her breath back, unfortunately. But at the end of this chapter, they're charging directly at the camp, and Choso realizes that, like, yeah, they broke through. Like, they're not they're not gonna be. They're gonna get here. There's nothing we can do on it. And even though it's a little bit strange for him in his position, he's still excited about it. In the next chapter, Shin almost dies immediately, but Kyokai's on the horse luckily and saves his ass. Slices off this dude's head off on page 4 of chapter 127. And yes, you heard it right, folks. I sliced off some dude's head off.
I was literally going to say something, but I was like, I'll just let it slide.
Hey, man, I'm sorry. Yeah, so I mean, a lot of these last few chapters, it's a lot of talking between Oki and To about the situation, and how that Fuki has no more tricks to play now that Shin is so close. Ooh, excuse me. So he somehow comes up with some bullshit where he's just like, "Oh, they're close to me. I'm just gonna pull away from them," and they're able to just somehow move their base camp farther away from the Hishin unit. And by doing so, has completely surrounded the men of the Hishin unit. However, this isn't the end, and what's his face? The commander of Chin's left army. What's his name again? Ro-O?
Kano?
The
Can I say that again?
Kano.
Kano, yeah, that's it. So many O's.
Autos.
Yeah, so he is actually able to stop the retreat of Fuki on chapter 128 on page 2. There's this awesome lineup of Kano, Fuki, and Shin all facing off against each other. Shin and Kano's horses are ripped. You see these fucking veins on their faces?
They're pretty ripped. Is that veins or is that sweat?
That might be sweat. But I don't know. I think that's veins. I don't know.
Really weird that Shin's horse has the same fucking hair as him.
Yeah, I wonder what would happen if you Photoshop and swap their hair. Probably wouldn't happen. Or it probably wouldn't be too different, I'd imagine, for sure.
Yeah, you can't do it. It's not possible.
So there's some stuff that goes on with of the separated base camp unit, 150 of Kano's men charge Kano's men in a flanking maneuver. So 150 men go in one direction. But at the same time, Heki's unit appears in front of them, the 200 dudes that managed to survive that slaughterhouse. He's lost, I guess, 4/5 of his unit, so he's only at 200 guys down. It's at this point where Bito tells Shin, just fucking go, just go, this is your chance to shine. You got to take the Zhao general's head, and he promises them doesn't matter who in the unit is dead after this. When I get my reward for killing this guy, I'm splitting it down 100 ways with you guys. And everyone's like, Shin. So yeah, Kyokai's he goes out ahead of them. Kano's unit is trying to push forward, but they got a lot of resistance. But at the same time, Shin's coming around, and at the end of this chapter, Shin's basically 3 dudes away from Fuki. The next chapter, in chapter 129, I really like this chapter because a lot of Fuki's internal monologue. He's thinking about what his situation, his tactics weren't wrong. What happened? Luck? No, that doesn't make any sense. He says, that perhaps there was a flaw in my tactics after all, and it shows Shin on the second page there with Kyokai behind him. Where really, I took this as the only flaw that this guy had was he didn't expect Shin to show up,
Mm-hmm.
Which you can't really blame him for. Shin is really a nobody still at this point. Shin's this entire chapter is looking for an opening. Fuki recognizes that it wasn't Kano that brought him to this point. It was basically Shin and his unit completely. He notices too that like in this battle for 100-man unit to make it that far due to nothing is not a mistake. Like, if the left and right wings didn't advance to pincer the Chin army, they wouldn't have made it this far, but they did advance, and so that small squad broke through. And he realizes that he's like from the beginning, he was caught in Oki's scheme, and that this entire thing was planned from the distance. And while Oki surprisingly also is a big fan of long distance warfare, and realizing this, Fuki immediately calls the army to fall back to a different position, because he's at the situation right now where like if they manage to take his head, it's a great success from the plan. But if he doesn't, then they just threw all these guys in the left army to wiped out for no reason. And as they're falling back, Oki has placed a bunch of dudes, like a detachment with a bunch of Chin flags, to fall behind the Zhao lines. And so if they were to retreat, they would see these 50 flags like in the forest. Even though it's basically impossible for a massive army like that to flank around, it did give them hesitation for a moment, which was just enough time for Shin to catch up. And on page 15 of chapter 129, Kano says, our Lord's arrow has arrived, and it has Shin jumping up. This is one of my favorite parts so far of this chapter, or this arc, when he kills Fuki and just gives him a nice little slash across the chest. Just completely wrecks the man.
I wouldn't call it a slash across the chest. He literally cuts him in half.
Yeah.
Sword's like going through his body.
Cuts straight through his ribs.
Cuts through the bone, as they like to say. It's deep when he cuts through the bone.
Cuts through that bone. In one go, too. He doesn't even like, I mean, I guess he falls down for some reason. Well, not Fuki. Shin falls down for some reason.
Yeah.
Probably just because he jumped like 15 feet in the air. But yeah, really satisfying moment. Shin actually did it. What is this? Second general? Third general? Well, no, this is the first general. He's killed officers before, but he hasn't killed like full-on generals of armies yet.
Yeah, I mean, technically Baku Koshin killed that first one.
Technically, you're right.
He killed that one commander, that nameless commander in the Wei army, and then
also the arrow guy.
Yeah, that guy's like a commander though.
Yeah.
Not even. I don't even know if that guy was a commander. He was just like an archer who was super skillful. Not even one of the 10 bows.
Yeah,
China.
He wasn't even technically a 10 bow.
Right. So, but still impressive. Not taking that away. This is like his first general kill, I think.
So at the beginning of the next chapter, Kano goes up to Shin. And he's like, "Hey, did my lord bestow a name on you and your men?" He tells him, "Hishin unit." Good. Next page is him just yelling, just screaming at the top of his lungs, and everybody cheering, telling them about how Shin's taken the head of General Fuki. Oki's watching from a distance, and he somehow realizes, maybe he hears, I guess, I don't know, that Fuki was taken out. The guys that were part of Fuki's unit tried to take revenge, but they were pretty quickly routed by Kano's unit. They raised their banner in the headquarters of the Zhao, who is now dead, to let everybody know on the battlefield that the left has been taken. Well, Chin's left, Zhao's right.
Yeah. Chin's
So
left, Zhao's right.
So they go back to find the people that stayed back and fought, and they're like, "There's not a single fucking person alive. What the hell is going on?" But N shows up with the rest of the unit for the most part. Heck, he's like, "Good job, Shin. You've done it. Like you've become a splendid captain."
Yeah, that's a nice little wholesome moment. Shin's hugging all the people from his village and Taku.
And yeah, nice little moment. But it goes the rest of the chapter. It shows a little bit of like what's going on with the rest of the battle. Rihaku's army is like he's still holding Mobu off, but they're taking like ridiculous casualties. So he had to react to that. The Zhao left army was continued advancing and were reinforced by Mangoku's army as well. So it was like they were going to be able to push all the way to Oki's headquarters and stuff. But as they were getting to that point, what happened was Fuki's army was killed and they had to retreat because Choso told them to, which was a good decision. But it was To mentions that it was too fast of a decision. To recall their left army back despite their progress, they probably thought they were on the back foot, which was a wise decision. And that's the end of the first day's fighting. And the Hishin unit, it shows them at night. They're all drinking and stuff. And they have like this liquor given to them from Oki specifically. Shin really kind of says like that it's like everything was kind of a blur. He just kind of went for his opportunity when he made it. Setsu from Hyro Squad, who was just like a nameless person, obviously, is the 17th person to die, and everybody's pretty sad about that. But Hyro mentions that like, yeah, it would be better if we sent them off with a smile, and Oki agrees. He just kind of shows up out of nowhere. So he describes to them like, oh yeah, I gave you the name so it's easier to remember for allies and also enemies, so that when his name was screamed out before when he took the general's head, everybody's now on both sides of the battlefield is talking about Shin of the Hishin unit. And it's just going to snowball, and his name will eventually. He tells him that his name will eventually spread throughout all of China because he killed Fuki. Even though it's not going to be everywhere, of course, and it might not even be farther than a rumor, and people won't remember it, but it's motivation for Shin to just keep getting heads and just keep killing people. That's, I guess, where we're going to start off. There's a little bit more that happens in this night. This night is pretty consequential, I believe, if what I'm remembering correctly. But that'll be for next time. I really am enjoying this reread. It's a lot of fun. And I am super hyped to get to the end of this battle where a lot of really crazy shit happens.
Oh, yeah.
But for now, I guess we'll have to end this episode. Man, we went really long today, huh?
Yeah, we were supposed to go longer than that. We were supposed to go until 149, but we're stopping at chapter 130 because we figure that's a good stopping point, and we're almost at 2 hours in this already. So
Yeah, that's crazy. I feel like I could just talk about this forever. So yeah, okay, everybody. Thank you for listening to King Dummies by us, Mangaki no Tsukai boys. As always, like and comment and subscribe and everything. We love to hear from you. And we hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye now.
bye bye.
Take care. Thanks.